We've reported the company that owns the crane used in yesterday's fire and collapse has a history of problems. The reporting by former Eyewitness News investigative reporter Jim Hoffer did so much back then to uncover and then crack down on the problems with New York's crane system. I interviewed him today about what still needs to be done and about the company that owns that crane. Jim, so good to see you. In fact, it's great to see you, my friend. It's been a long time, and I hope you're doing well.
I am, Bill. Good to see you.
Let me ask you, when you saw the crane go down on Wednesday, you covered this company. You have covered crane accidents, deadly accidents here in New York City. What went through your head when you saw that?
Well, I immediately thought there's got to be, some real collateral damage there. I thought for sure there would be serious injuries, if not death. The miracle on 10th Avenue yesterday. And then I also, thought back to those two fatal accidents, which this same crane company was involved in back in 2008.
Right.
Just within the span of 2 months, those fatal accidents. And
you covered that back in 2008. I want you to talk about it. Same company, New York Crane and Equipment. The owner is in the family still. The man's daughter, he died a couple years after your reports and after the accident, and his daughter now runs it. Tell us about this company. Tell us about the story you did back in 2008.
Well, I mean, in 2008, of course, it led to, sweeping changes within the buildings department. But one of the findings that came out of many of the investigations was that this crane company, was cutting corners on repairs. And so, flash ahead to yesterday, 15 years later, and you have one of their cranes essentially bursting into flames high above the city. And, cranes don't just burst into flames. Right. They don't just catch on fire. And that, again, speaks to a maintenance issue. And the crane company is most responsible for maintaining maintenance of those cranes. And when a crane is catching on fire, that speaks to the issue of a lack of maintenance, if you ask me. And I think that at the end of investigations in this accident, we're going to find that played a critical role here as well.
Right. So let me just get this right. And I'm a layperson. The lay people are watching this. What does that mean? The crane company is responsible. Is it like they rent it out to the construction company, just like Hertz or Avid? May be looking and renting it out to a customer. It's up to them to keep that car safe, right?
Look, there are varying degrees of responsibility that go down the chain of command. But first and foremost is the owner of the equipment that's making money by leasing the equipment. They are most directly responsible for maintaining it and operating it safely. Then it's the operator of the crane, the company that's leasing it. But let's not forget the role that the buildings department and the division of cranes and derricks plays in this as well. They have a responsibility to make sure that cranes, tower cranes, are operating safely in the city of New York. Yeah. So they cannot be absolved of some responsibility if, in fact, this comes down to, a lack of maintenance, lack of safety issue.
Well, what we see these days in not just New York City, but a lot of other places as well, is that there's a shortage of labor. We don't have enough inspectors in the buildings department, right? This was a problem back then, too, when you were doing it.
Exactly. This was a key finding and a key issue back in the investigations of those fatal accidents in 2008, that it was the buildings department sorely lacked a number of expert inspectors, and they were incredibly short-staffed. And here again, one of the figures that I saw today was that the buildings department has a vacancy rate currently of nearly 23%. That means 1 in 4 jobs at the buildings department is not filled. And I would be willing to bet that number is even higher in cranes and derricks, this important division whereby inspectors need to go out and make sure that these cranes are operating safely. Part of the problem back in 2008 for understaffing in cranes and derricks, and part of the problem today is that they can't compete on a salary level with the private construction industry. To get a job in crane and derricks as an inspector, you need 5 years of experience out in the field.
Wow.
Just for an opening position. Your starting salary, Bill, $72,000. Now, why would you go and work for the buildings department for $72,000 if you have 5 years of engineering experience in cranes and derricks when you could go out into the private industry, make 2-3 times as much?
Right.
So I think it's still a continuing problem today.
So you're saying that basically it's a little like the NYPD. You've done this story too. You know, the NYPD used to have this problem where, and they still do to some degree, all of a sudden people are there, they're not making as much money as, let's say, some small town will pay them. And so they take enough, they put enough years into the NYPD, they get their pension there, and boom, they go somewhere else after we taxpayers did all the training for them, and they're making 3 times the amount of salary. It's the same kind of theory.
It is. And imagine, although I do remember that a while back, maybe about 10 years ago, they did get significant pay increases in the NYPD.
They did indeed.
To try and help with that issue, understaffing.
Yep.
Can you imagine if 1 in 4 positions in the NYPD went unfilled? Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're saying, and this is something. Listen, every business is going to say, just like the health inspectors when they go to restaurants, they give it a C or a D or a B or not, pending instead of an A. Listen, businesses are always going to say, oh, it's a pain in the butt. What are they doing? They're just hurting the little guy. But in fact, it's about public health and safety in general, and certainly with things like building equipment and the crane we saw yesterday and what happened when it crashed into that apartment building across the street. No one was killed. And then it goes down and hits the ground, all those pieces. No one was killed, thank heaven. This is a big deal, and the ramifications are very serious.
They really, really are. But, one thing I think you do have to keep in mind, to the credit of the city and the buildings department, is that they did learn some lessons after some of these fatal accidents. I mean, New York City probably has the strictest crane operating rules and regs in the nation. Consider the fact that you need more training, more certification to operate a crane in New York City than any place on earth. And that's post-2008 fatal accidents. Also consider that any crane that is 25 years or older is banned from operating in the city of New York. That was not the case as short as 4 years ago. You could operate cranes that were older, but the city took steps against a lot of pushback from the construction industry to phase out old cranes. Yeah. So there's another example is 2016. You might recall the fatal accident that involved wind in Soho of a boom crane. Ever since then, cranes, every single tower crane or boom crane must have a wind meter, a wind gauge on it. And if it registers gusts over 30 miles an hour, they have to shut down.
Yeah.
So there are really strict requirements. Nevertheless, the Department of Buildings is still, appears to me, struggling with understaffing.
Yeah. You talk about the winds. I don't want to talk about it, but Superstorm Sandy, you were here for that. Do you remember that big crane in Midtown Manhattan? And that was blowing in the wind. Let me just, final question, Jim, sure, before we say goodbye, and it's great talking to you again. This following statement says a lot about the problems that will always be there in this kind of industry. That something's going to happen, maybe, and you have to take care of it. New York, and you told me this earlier this morning, New York has like the best crane safety record since the terrible accidents of any big city in the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to sort of find fault with things, but I mean, consider the amount of construction taking place in New York City and the number of tower cranes that are spread throughout the 5 boroughs. And, it's amazing that there have, in some ways, been more accidents. So it's a decent record. I think what stands out here is, once again, it's the same company that played a role in those horrific accidents back in 2008. And I think that's what really is drawing the scrutiny and quite frankly, has frightened people, because you have to ask yourself, here we go again. And what is it going to take until, this company gets it right and we don't have to fear about what's hanging over our heads when it's owned by New York City Crane and Equipment?
Good point. Of course, the margin of error always very slim on these kinds of situations. And if one company is more to blame than others, then that's part of the job for us to bring it to the public's attention. Certainly what you did back in the day. It was good to see you again. Let me just tell you, the people who've taken your place are doing a good job, and they say we want to be like Jim Hoffer. We're talking about Dan Krauth and Kristen Thorne.
Well, yeah, they are doing a great job. I still watch Channel 7. I love you guys, and the work is as good as ever, for sure.
All right. We miss you, love you, and thanks for your insight today, Jim. Really appreciate it.
Take care, Bill.